Does Sri Lanka really practice responsible tourism, or is there a paradox? Responsible tourism, an approach to the managing and doing of tourism that minimizes negative impacts while enhances positive impacts. So, it's not simply a traditional form of tourism, it's a way of practicing tourism with a continual process. So, the core of responsible tourism comes into action through with the main sustainable pillars, which are environment, socio-culture and economy. Simply, outcome of responsible tourism is to better places for people to live and people to visit. When considering responsible tourism in Sri Lanka, we talked a lot but done little. When it comes to responsible tourism, the responsible of tourist, employees, managers, government, business figures and even from the community. So does Sri Lanka really in practicing the ways and means of responsible tourism? When considering all those elements into one, no doubt that there is a paradox in responsible tourism in Sri Lanka. Albert Einstein famously remarked in a conversation with Werner Hessenberg, he said, "You know, in the West we've built a beautiful ship, and in it has all the comforts. But actually, the one thing it doesn't have is a compass, and that's why it doesn't know where it's going." The same as in Sri Lankan tourism, which the government and the experts talk about the tourism development, so all of them will miss the concept of tourism development through responsible tourism. There is no clear pathway. Time to time those were changed with personal agendas. Somehow each and everyone has a responsibility when it practicing tourism. This paradox of our times in Sri Lanka responsible tourism was propounded by the Dalai Lama, when he said, "We have wider freeways but narrower viewpoints. We have taller buildings but shorter tempers." Even Will Smith said that we spend money we haven't earned on things we don't need to impress people we don't like. The paradox of our times is that we have more degrees but fewer senses, more knowledge but less judgment, more experts but less solutions. It was Martin Luther King who said that the irony of our time is that we have guided missiles but misguided men. Does Sri Lanka actually thrive off this paradox of responsible tourism? Is that this paradox actually makes the media interesting? It's what makes journalism interesting, it's what makes politics interesting, it's what makes television interesting. Doesn't it seems like we've tried to clean up the air but polluted our soul? We've split the atom but not our prejudice, and we've aiming for higher incomes but we have lower morals. So I'm hearing you ask, how do we bring a change through responsible tourism? How we dissect this paradox that exists in our lives even we don't know? Through all of these changes, responsible tourism to be achieved by bridging the institutional gaps, effecting policy direction in many areas and changing the ongoing pattern. Otherwise, this paradox means that every step forward we take, we're taking 3 backwards every time.